Somewhere along the way, you pressed your face so close to one thin slice of your story that it started to look like the entire landscape. The message that never came, the reply that took too long, the paycheck that still refuses to stretch, the chance that seems too minor to hold weight, the progress you can only detect if you squint and strain. And because you are worn down, your thoughts have quietly begun to calculate everything by what has not arrived yet. Gentle soul, in the quieter corners of your mind you have been whispering questions to yourself. Is this really it? Did I overestimate what was possible for me? Why does everything feel so reduced, so narrow, in this moment of my life? You are not imagining that sense of smallness. Seasons of tightness shrink what you can see. Exhaustion shrinks what you can see. Disappointment shrinks what you can see. When the heart has carried tension for a long time, it starts interpreting every experience through the lens of what is lacking right now. That is why what I want to speak over you must come in a gentle tone. The story unfolding around you is more spacious than your current vantage point allows. Not in the loud, glittering way that advertisements and slogans like to promise. Not in a way that erases today's ache or commands you to feel thrilled on cue. I am pointing to something slower, sturdier, wider, more rooted in truth than in excitement. Dear one, what is happening in and around you cannot be accurately weighed by what can be counted this afternoon. There are shifts beginning that you have not recognized yet. There are threads of connection that remain invisible to you for now. There is growth taking place under the surface of what still looks motionless. There is significance forming inside the very moments you almost wrote off as pointless. Because you are human, you keep searching for proof in the brightest, most obvious places. The dramatic open door, the clear victory, the quick fix, the instant soothing of pressure. But much of what is going to define your next chapter is becoming real just beyond the edge of your current line of sight. That does not mean you failed to notice it in time. It simply means you are standing right in the middle of the process, and the middle is rarely glamorous. The middle tends to appear slow, ordinary, unresolved, difficult to explain to others without sounding vague. And yet the middle often holds more real life than the highlight moments everybody later points to. I see how the waiting has worn on you. You long to know, deeply know, that your effort is not in vain, that your quiet choosing of what is right still counts, that showing up again today still carries meaning, that your everyday acts of faithfulness have not been tossed into a black hole. They have not vanished. What is genuine is never truly thrown away. The pieces you brush off as trivial are often strands in a much larger tapestry. The conversation you nearly canceled. The ability you are developing one slow practice at a time. The self-control you exercised when no one was clapping. The kind of healing that has no certificate to post or medal to hold. The private boundary you set that guarded your inner peace. All of these carry a weight you do not yet see. You have sometimes expected meaning to arrive with spotlights, labels, and immediate clarity, to announce itself early and unmistakably. But many of the most consequential things step into your life like tiny seeds pressed into dark ground, small enough to walk past, hidden enough to question, yet containing a future that cannot be assessed by its first appearance. So be careful not to be fooled by how small today's task, relationship, opportunity, or step appears in your hands. A start can look underwhelming and still hold a horizon far larger than your first guess. A simple exchange of words can seem unremarkable and still reroute the direction of a life. A quiet decision to be honest can feel like a private matter and still reshape years to come. A long, unseen season of inner repair can look like stagnation and still build the resilience and steadiness you once could not sustain. When I say it is larger than your current estimate, I am not only speaking about outcomes or visible impact. I am also speaking about you yourself. While your attention has been glued to what has not shifted yet, there has been a slow reshaping inside. You have grown sharper in discernment, more truthful about what is real, less easily dazzled by the distractions that once pulled you out of yourself. You are learning to recognize what steals your peace. You are becoming quieter in ways that signal depth, not defeat. You have cultivated a slightly greater capacity to sit with things unresolved without collapsing as quickly as before. This inner work is not small. Some of the most significant changes unfolding in you right now would never impress people who only count what is public and obvious. But those changes matter in ways that run deep. A mind that drifts less into panic matters. A heart that softens instead of hardening matters. A clearer intuition about what truly nourishes you matters. The ability to pause before you react matters. The slow reconstruction of self-respect after a long period of self-doubt matters. You have been tempted to label this stretch of life as barren simply because it is not loud or spectacular. Yet silence is not the same thing as lifelessness. Quiet is not equivalent to emptiness. Unseen development is not the same as having no development. Much of what will eventually show above ground must first take root out of sight. Roots before branches. Depth before visibility. Soundness before expansion. It feels unfair, especially when your hunger for change is strong, and you long for something you can easily point to. But hidden preparation has preserved more futures than impatience ever will. In your longing, you have wished you could see an entire map, every turn, every reason why this delay, this restriction, this small doorway, this humble start could someday add up to more. But if you were handed the entire horizon at once, you might race ahead and skip the tenderness and attention your present self desperately needs. You might treat only the destination as worthy and dismiss the person you are becoming on the way. What is bigger does not always manifest as noise or speed. Sometimes the largeness is in how far the meaning stretches, how many parts of your life are quietly being held together behind what looks ordinary, how many outcomes are being protected or redirected through a situation that seems minor. A postponed answer might be shielding several areas of your life at the same time. A door that did not open might be safeguarding more than one relationship or possibility. A slow, unglamorous phase may be stitching together the healing of wounds you thought you had to live with forever. Your story is more interwoven than you are currently able to track. One aligned choice can ripple across your sense of inner safety, your work, your relationships, your future decisions, your very posture toward the world. It is easy to think a single moment is small, but the reach of an honest decision often extends well beyond the moment you made it. You have also been looking sideways, letting someone else's timeline, visible achievements, cleaner-looking narrative, or faster results become a ruler held up against your own life. That has made your own road seem reduced, even when it is not. But the work taking shape in you is not required to resemble anyone else's story in order to be profound, needed, or beautiful. You are not behind just because your growth does not announce itself loudly. You are not a failure simply because your next move is modest. You are not abandoned merely because your current days are quiet and unsparkling. Peaceful development often appears unimpressive to eyes that are used to anxiety and urgency. But anxious eyes are poor judges of real depth. You are allowed to put down the demand that every day must feel important or look productive. Significance is often invisible while it is still forming. Some days exist simply to maintain what has already been gained. Some days serve to protect a fragile new beginning. Some days keep you from returning to what once harmed you. Some days train endurance without publicity. None of that is nothing. The task in front of you may feel too ordinary to possibly hold promise. Maybe it is a fresh start without fireworks. A new relationship that is only tentative. A recovery process that moves in inches, not leaps. An idea that still looks unimpressive on paper. A small, practical step that offers no glamour. Do not dismiss what arrives quietly, without spectacle or a sense of drama. Much of what truly lasts enters in that quiet way. I know how deeply you fear the pain of hoping and being let down again. To shield yourself, you shrink your expectations before life has a chance to. You lower the bar so you cannot be disappointed. You label things as small and inconsequential before they have had a chance to breathe. You tell yourself not to want much so nothing can be taken from you. That instinct is understandable. It comes from wounds that remember. But when caution hardens into a refusal to believe anything meaningful can happen for you, it becomes a ceiling over your own life. You are not being invited into reckless, ungrounded hope. You are being invited to stop choking the life out of new possibilities just because you are afraid to care. There is a space between fantasy and bitterness, and that is where wise hope lives, a hope that can stay tender without closing its eyes to reality. The scope of what is developing in your life is not measured solely by sudden shifts or visible results. Sometimes the true magnitude lies in the quiet mending of long-standing patterns, in interrupting family legacies that have traveled for generations, in reclaiming a softer inner world after years of tension, in learning to lean toward peace instead of familiar chaos, in forming a character that can carry more responsibility, love, or influence without cracking. These are not small accomplishments, even when no one notices or applauds. You may think you are merely enduring a hard stretch, barely keeping your head above water. Yet survival, when paired with honesty and even small acts of care, often becomes preparation. You are discovering what you can live without, what you cannot afford to keep surrendering, what replenishes you, what drains the life out of you, who you become when the distractions fall away and only the essentials remain. This understanding will serve you later in ways you cannot yet calculate. Do not despise an ordinary day. Many of the futures people envy are built in those unremarkable hours, through steady integrity, patient restraint, the decision not to betray yourself just because progress is slow, the almost invisible daily choices that, over time, carve out a completely different life. If you could step outside yourself and see how many threads are being gathered at once, you would understand why this season feels stretched and unclear. You would recognize that what looks like delay is often a careful positioning. What looks hidden is often being shielded until it is ready. What seems small is often being gently matured. What feels uncertain is often simply not finished yet. Incomplete is not the same as unimportant. Unfinished is not the same as worthless. Unclear is not the same as lost. You have been too quick to interpret not knowing as failure, to treat confusion as evidence that you chose wrong. Yet uncertainty is often just the feeling of being human inside a story still unfolding. You are allowed to breathe here. You do not have to inflate the moment for it to be meaningful. You do not have to rush the outcome to prove it matters. You do not need to panic because you cannot yet see its full size. Some things grow best without being constantly tugged at. Some insights settle only when they are not chased down. Some futures form under the quiet care of patience, not under relentless inspection. You do not have to carry the weight of calculating exactly how important every season is. You are permitted to simply live the next honest step, even if you do not yet understand everything it will touch. There is a quiet dignity in living like that, choosing what is true even when it does not look grand, treating what is in front of you with respect instead of contempt because it is not bigger yet, tending beginnings with care, nurturing what looks small, trusting that something sacred can move through what appears ordinary. One day, you may look back on these exact days with new eyes and realize that what felt tiny was actually a hinge, that what felt like delay was a gathering of strength and pieces, that what felt concealed was a shelter around something fragile, that what felt dull and unimpressive was pouring concrete for a foundation strong enough to hold the weight of later blessings and responsibilities. When that day comes, you will not have to manufacture all. Understanding will arrive on its own. Until then, be kinder to the limits of your current sight. You are not failing simply because you cannot see where everything is leading. You are a person in motion, not a finished product. You are living within a story far too wide to sum up with a single bill, a single text, a single missed opportunity, a single quiet week. The path ahead of you carries more possibility than your tired mind can picture tonight. More connection, more repair, more usefulness, more calm joy, more healing, more influence through steady faithfulness than your current fatigue allows you to imagine. I am not asking you for a dramatic response or a sudden surge of optimism. Only this: Loosen your grip a little on the harsh estimates you have been making about your own life. Allow a bit more room for things to take shape without your constant verdict. Give unfolding events a little more time before you call them small. Offer a gentler gaze to these humble starting points. Allow a wider space in your heart for the chance that what seems so plain, so routine, might be holding far more life than you can presently see. Beloved one, remain near to what is solid and true. Tend carefully to what has been entrusted to your hands right now. Give reverence to each small movement forward. Do not ridicule the seed simply because it has not yet become a sheltering tree. Do not cast aside the first soft light because it has not yet blazed into midday brightness. Remember that time itself is a language of tenderness, a slow kindness that wraps itself around growth. Dear heart, I have not misread the radiance within you. I have not misunderstood the sacred worth of this particular stretch of days. I have not failed to notice the quiet, hidden work that is unfolding deep inside you. I have not labeled as insignificant what I know is stretching, expanding, preparing to become something far wider than you imagine. So, let your soul settle, not into indifference or resignation, but into a steady, rooted calm, into a deep quiet that no longer needs to prove that your becoming has value. My cherished one, what is emerging is larger than your current vision, broader than this single hour, richer and more merciful than your fear dares to anticipate. Even while the full outline remains unfinished, while the shape of it all is still being drawn in unseen places, I remain close, unhurried and watchful, like the stillness of dusk resting over an open field. I keep company with the invisible labor, patient with every unseen turn, until your heart can lean back and breathe within a story much more expansive than today's anxiety. Amen. To all of you who share in this journey, please know that every word offered here is born out of prayer, attentiveness, and devotion. We continue in this calling with thankful hearts and steadfast trust. If you feel moved to uphold this work and walk beside this ministry in a tangible way, you will find the means to do so in the links provided in the description and in the comment section beneath this message. May the Lord's hand lead you, sustain you, and surround you with blessing.